My day was going fine. It was a normal day. That all changed when I turned on the local news. After the mandatory animated intro that introduced the news anchors and said in a loud male voice,
"This is Channel 9 News."
the frame cut to the usual nightly anchor, Barbara Poulos. But instead of her usual friendly, warm grin, her face was oddly grave and somber.
"Tonight's top story.
She began in a serious tone.
A young woman was found dead in her home on Washington Court Avenue just hours ago by her mailman."
This wasn't really a shock, as my town usually has a daily crime report of some type. The screen immediately cut to the live footage of the outside of a house, and my heart sunk into my stomach. The house on the screen was my house. Obviously, it could have been a look-alike, but I recognized the missing shingles from where my tree branch had fallen on the roof, the cracks on the outside brick where my nephew had thrown a baseball a few too many times. The last piece of telltale evidence was the house number, as it came into view as 5896. This was my house. No doubt about it. The live footage showed police cars and an ambulance parked in my driveway and front lawn, officers standing in my doorway and taking notes on a small notepad. I was perplexed. There had to be a sort of misunderstanding. The anchor continued.
"The victim, who has not yet been identified, was found slain at around 4 p.m. when the mailman had a later than usual shift. Said mailman, 43-year-old Antonio Wellborn, went to deliver the mail to the victim's home and noticed that her front door was ajar. An unusual case due to the cold spike we've been experiencing recently. Out of curiosity, Wellborn said he decided to see if the victim was home, only to discover her body lying in disarray on the ground. The victim, whom appeared to be 20 years of age, is presumed to have died of strangulation and craniocerebral injuries, along with a mysterious vertical gash on her abdominal area. The victim's liver, ovaries, intestines, and spleen were missing from her corpse, according to police and autopsy reports."
The screen cut from Barbara's face to footage from outside my home, and I felt sick when I saw what was on my TV screen. It was my living room. The very couch which I sat on. The very ottoman which I had my feet propped on now. Except it was all ransacked, and everything was covered in blood. The camera panned to another section of my home, and I felt the sting of bile rise in the back of my throat as I felt the color drain from my face. It was a framed picture of me and my dog, Toby, who had passed away only months ago. Me. That was me in the photograph on the screen. The same auburn hair, same Celtic knot tattoo on my forearm, same mole right above my eyebrow. According to the news, I was dead. My heart stopped, then continued beating shakily.
"The victim, pictured in this photograph, has not yet been identified, but if you know who she is or have any information about her, please contact the Channel 9 News."
Barbara continued.
Wellborn said that he called authorities after he realized the situation he was in. Witnesses who saw the police arrive, such as Amy Autumn, reported to the police that she had seen a suspicious black SUV that had a missing bumper driving repeatedly back and forth in front of the victim's home at around 3:30 when she was going for a jog.
The hell? I muttered to myself. I felt my hands shaking as I stood up and did a scan of the room, as if looking for any possible sign of danger. I racked my brain, trying to come up with a plausible explanation for what I was seeing and hearing. As much as I consider myself to be an intellectual being, I couldn't explain it. Maybe in some parallel universe, this could happen. Is this that godforsaken Mandela effect thing? The butterfly effect? I could barely think straight as I began to pace around my living room anxiously. I looked up at the TV to catch the anchor saying,
As of now, her death is ruled as a mysterious homicide. The motive is unclear as of right now. The presumable killer or killers are still at large, most likely trying to flee the state or looking for another victim. Whomever these heathens are, they are considered to be armed and dangerous. Keep all doors and windows of your homes and businesses locked, and don't go out after dark. Be on the lookout for the mysterious SUV with the missing bumper. Crime is regular in our town, but this case could be completely different, considering the occult properties of...
I cut that woman off with a click of my remote. Words can't describe my fear. I was unsure of what to do when I heard the sound of a car pulling up in my driveway. I froze in place. Why would anyone be pulling into my driveway? I live alone. For whatever reason, the gravity of the situation didn't immediately settle in. I finally realized what was happening as tears flooded my vision. Mother of God, I whimpered as I slowly crept to one of the front windows of my home. I looked out my driveway, only for my worst fears to come to life. Sitting in my driveway was that hulking SUV with the missing bumper. I tried not to scream. I began to cry, now fearing for my life. Why would anyone want to kill me? I'm not in any illegal businesses. I don't do drugs or any shady stuff like that. This had to be a misunderstanding. Some huge mistake. And then something finally clicked. What I saw in the news was coming true. My heart dropped as I watched 3 people dressed in all black step out of the car. The figures were wearing ski masks, 2 of them white ones, and 1 bearing a black one. I saw that they had knives, ropes, and some type of club or bat with them.
Strangulation and craniocerebral injuries, along with a mysterious vertical gash on her abdominal area.
I tried to say something, anything, but my voice came out as a raspy and hoarse whisper. They approached my front door and began knocking.
Excuse me, but could the lady or man of the house please step outside?
One of the masked figures commanded. I had seen too many horror movies to know where this was going. It was a botched, staged attempt to get me to come outside. As quietly as possible, I crept to grab my cell phone and snuck into the kitchen to grab a knife. Then I ran to my bedroom as quietly as I could and locked the door behind me. Just in time to hear my front door being broken down or kicked in. They haven't found me yet. Whoever they are, whatever they are. I know that the outcome of this situation probably won't be good. I'm too scared to call the police, out of fear that they might hear me or find me, and that the police will arrive too late. Please, comment with suggestions, because I'm too terrified to do anything seemingly rational. Please, help me before it's too late.